And welcome back to Fox Business Morning. You know, commodities can cover anything from, well, corn to coal. Obviously, oil and gold covered very closely on the markets. But the question is, as we head into the second half of the year, where is a good investment in these commodities? Well, joining us this morning is Kevin Kerr, editor and analyst, I'll get this right, analyst with Global Commodities Alert.
Very good.
We were just laughing about how hot it is in London. And of course, Kevin, no AC, right? So just back me up on this. It's a little
It's
toasty.
awful warm here.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, good morning to you. What kind of commodities should we be looking at heading into the second half? Of course, you deal a lot with the agricultural side.
I do. Yeah, I do focus a lot on the ag. In fact, I'm here for an ag conference. We're seeing a lot of interest pour into that sector. Again, you know, none of the commodities are back up to the levels we saw a year ago, but we've seen significant increase, especially in energy. We've had about a 41% increase in energy prices just in the second quarter.
So where do you see the trends going?
Well, again, I like the ag sector. I do think overall we're going to see commodities going higher over time. And I think it's really important to understand the process of the dollar moving lower is a huge impact on these commodities prices moving higher. So as we continue to see the dollar weaken, we're likely to see many of these commodities move higher. It's just a
kind of risk appetite coming back a little bit.
Absolutely. And all these commodities are priced in dollars. So as it weakens, it becomes more attractive to buy them.
Especially in the oil market. Speculators came under a lot of criticism, a lot of blame for just hyperinflating these markets. Does that lead to volatility? Is that a concern for the average investor?
Yeah, typically when we have more liquidity, we have less volatility. But in this case, we saw so much money pouring into the sector that had never been there before, plus new instruments such as the ETFs, and not only energy, but also in ag and the metals, that we saw a lot of these commodities rally based on that because they're supported by the physical commodity and by the futures market. So we're not getting that money pouring back in right now, which is probably better for the markets to gradually increase based more on fundamentals than just in hot money coming into the sector. You
mentioned metals. China's manufacturing growth really gave a boost to the sector because, you know, the belief is the demand is going to be there as China comes out of this economic slump. Do you expect to see the charge out of this, you know, slumping economy coming from the emerging markets, China in particular, with regard to commodities?
Absolutely. China's vital. China and India were a big part of the rally the first time around in supporting these prices. Recovery is probably going to start in China. We're already seeing glimmers of that there. So as they acquire commodities, we'll see the support fundamentally for them. It's not going to come from the West or certainly from the U.S. initially. I think we're going to see recovery come from the East and India and China.
How volatile is the commodity markets? You know, if I'm putting money into wheat or corn, there's a lot of factors that can affect that. Weather, for one, can really affect the sector. So how can you plan for that?
Well, you have to be hedged in many ways. And obviously, options and futures are not for everybody. There are other ways to play the sector longer term. There are equities that are related to the ag business, such as companies like Monsanto and Deere equipment. These are other ways to play the sector besides just futures and options, which are a great way, of course, one of the more direct ways. And there's the ETFs as well, which I'm not as big a fan of, but something to look at.
All right, we're out of time. Kevin Kerr, Global Commodities Alert, an analyst, I can get that right, an editor. Thank you so much for here, and good luck finding some AC in London today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Jenna, back to you in New York.
All right, Ashley, we have some breaking news.